Success, clarity, inner power. Sounds good, right? But most of us are stuck in chaos, overthinking, chasing things we can't control, and burning out. If you've ever felt lost, drained, or just tired of life not going your way, this is for you. I'm breaking down 6 Stoic truths that'll shift your mindset and put you back in control. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. This could be the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Let's dive in. You should know these 6 key things to be successful in life through Stoicism. Point 1. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. Success in life doesn't start with wealth or talent, it starts in the mind. And one of the most powerful truths Stoicism teaches is this: focus only on what you can control and let go of what you can't. It sounds simple, but it's life-changing. Most of our stress, frustration, and suffering come from fighting battles that aren't ours to win. We worry about what people think, we fear failure. We stress over outcomes that were never in our hands to begin with. And in doing that, we give away our peace and power. The Stoics, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, understood this better than anyone. They lived in a world of war, betrayal, loss, and chaos. But despite all that, they remained grounded. Why? Because they drew a very clear line between what they could control and what they couldn't. Epictetus said it perfectly: some things are up to us, and some things are not. That one line can guide your entire life. Think about it. You can't control how someone treats you, but you can control how you respond. You can't control if the world is fair, but you can control whether you choose to act with integrity. You can't control every outcome, but you can always control your effort, your attitude, and your mindset. And once you truly internalize that, you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable. You become unshakable. Let's say you're working hard toward a goal. Maybe it's learning something new, building a relationship, or chasing a dream. You'll face resistance. People might doubt you. Progress may be slow. But instead of obsessing over how fast you're going or what people say, focus on what you can do right now. Can you study today? Can you communicate better with your partner? Can you practice, even if it's just for 10 minutes? That's control. That's power. And over time, those small, controlled actions lead to big, uncontrolled results. One of the biggest pain points in life is rejection, when someone doesn't see your value or when something you hoped for doesn't work out. It hurts. But Stoicism reminds us that your worth isn't tied to outcomes or opinions. What you can control is how you respond. Do you learn from it, grow, and move forward? Or do you sink into self-doubt and bitterness? The Stoic chooses growth every time. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to freedom. This applies in relationships too. You can't force someone to love you, understand you, or stay loyal. But you can show up with honesty, patience, and strength. And if it doesn't work out, you walk away with dignity because you stayed true to your values, which are within your control. That's where real confidence comes from. Even when life throws something completely unfair your way, a loss, a betrayal, a failure, the Stoic approach isn't to pretend it doesn't hurt. It's to say, this hurts, but I still have choices. You always have a choice in how you respond. Will you react with anger, blame, and victimhood? Or will you respond with clarity, courage, and calm? One weakens you. The other builds the life you want. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into what ifs and why me, stop. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If the answer is yes, act on it with full focus. That simple question can save you from countless wasted hours and unnecessary pain. When you master this mindset, life doesn't become easier, it becomes clearer. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing uncertainty. You start owning your actions, your mindset, your path. That's the Stoic secret. Peace through power, not the power to control everything, but the power to control yourself. And that's where true success begins. Point 2, practice self-discipline and consistency. When it comes to success, everyone talks about talent, luck, or timing. But the truth is, none of that matters without self-discipline and consistency. Stoicism makes it clear. The path to greatness isn't built on bursts of motivation, it's built on showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. We all have goals. Maybe it's learning a new language, building a career, improving your relationships, or becoming the best version of yourself. But how often do we start strong, only to fall off when life gets hard or progress feels slow? That's where Stoicism steps in. It teaches us that emotions are temporary but values are steady. And if you want to be successful, you need to build a life on values, not moods. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, used to write in his journal every morning to remind himself of who he wanted to be: disciplined, focused, and grounded. He didn't do it for show. He did it to train his mind. Because self-discipline doesn't come naturally. It's built through daily effort. You train it like a muscle, one small choice at a time. It's easy to feel pumped for a day or two when something's new, but real transformation happens in the boring, quiet moments when no one's watching, and you choose to stick to your path anyway. You don't skip the workout. You study the language. You have that difficult conversation. You show up with love and effort even when you're tired. That's what separates wishful thinking from real success. Stoics didn't chase motivation, they chased consistency. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." There's power in that. First, you decide who you want to become: a calm thinker, a loyal partner, a reliable friend, a master of your craft. Then you act like it, not once, not when it's easy, but every day. You start becoming that person, not through big leaps, but through tiny, disciplined steps repeated over and over again. Let's be real, life will test you. You'll get tired. You'll be discouraged. You'll feel like giving up. And that's exactly when discipline matters most. Because in that moment, your decision isn't just about today, it's shaping your identity. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're telling yourself, "I'm the kind of person who doesn't quit." That belief? That's what carries you when motivation fades. In relationships, discipline matters just as much. It means showing up with patience, choosing respect even in conflict, being consistent in love, and not letting ego or impulse damage what you're trying to build. It's not always romantic or exciting, but it's real. It's steady. And that's the kind of love that lasts. When you're learning a new skill like a language, for example, it's not about cramming everything in one day. It's about repetition, practice, even when you feel like nothing's sticking. The Stoics would tell you, don't aim for fast results. Aim for daily effort, because eventually that effort compounds into something powerful. One of the biggest myths about success is that it requires some kind of genius or magical moment. It doesn't. It requires getting up every day and doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't want to. That's self-discipline. That's consistency. And that's what builds a life you can be proud of. So ask yourself, what do I want to build? Who do I want to become? And am I willing to show up for it even on the hard days? If the answer is yes, you're already halfway there. Point 3, embrace discomfort for growth. Growth is never comfortable, and Stoicism doesn't pretend otherwise. In fact, one of the core truths it teaches is that discomfort isn't just a part of life, it's necessary for success. It's the pressure that shapes you, the friction that builds strength, the resistance that forces you to evolve. While most people run from discomfort, the Stoic faces it head-on, knowing that every challenge is a chance to grow. We live in a world that constantly promises ease and quick results, shortcuts, hacks, instant gratification. But the truth is, nothing worth having comes without struggle. You want discipline? You'll have to wake up early, say no to distractions, and keep going even when progress is slow. You want a strong relationship? You'll have to work through misunderstandings, show up with humility, and love even when it's inconvenient. You want to succeed in life? That means facing setbacks, criticism, and moments of deep doubt. All of that is uncomfortable, but it's also where the real transformation happens. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." You don't discover your strength when life is easy. You discover it when you're tired, stressed, and overwhelmed, and you keep going anyway. Discomfort is your training ground. It's where you learn who you really are. The problem is, we're wired to avoid pain. The moment something feels difficult, we second-guess ourselves. We start thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this isn't for me. But the Stoic flips that mindset. Instead of running from struggle, they ask, what is this trying to teach me? They see discomfort as a signal not to quit, but to lean in. Because on the other side of discomfort is growth, clarity, and strength. Imagine you're learning something totally new, like a language, a sport, or a skill. At first, it's awkward. You feel like you're making no progress. You might even feel embarrassed. That's where most people stop. But the Stoic knows that's exactly when you need to push through. Because if you only practice when it's easy, you'll never get better. Progress lives in the uncomfortable zone. It's the same in relationships. Real love isn't always smooth. There will be disagreements, tough conversations, moments when you feel misunderstood. But those moments are opportunities to grow closer if you face them with honesty and patience instead of shutting down or running away. That emotional discomfort, that's where trust is built. That's where love gets stronger. Even when life hits you hard, loss, failure, heartbreak, the Stoic mindset says, this is painful, but it's also shaping me. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's not just a quote, it's a way to live. Instead of letting the obstacle stop you, let it redirect you. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Discomfort forces you to ask deeper questions. Who do I want to be when things get hard? Do I fold or do I rise? The Stoic chooses to rise not because it's easy, but because every time you lean into discomfort, you grow more unshakable. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive tough times, but uses them to level up. There's no success story without pain behind it, no breakthrough without breakdowns, and no real strength without facing fear, doubt, or failure. So if you're feeling uncomfortable right now, that's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're growing. Lean into it. That's where the magic happens. Point 4, reflect daily and know thyself. If there's one practice that ties all Stoic wisdom together, it's reflection. In the noise of everyday life, we often move on autopilot, reacting instead of thinking, rushing instead of observing, and constantly doing without asking why. Stoicism pulls us out of that blur. It teaches that success isn't just about action, it's about knowing yourself deeply, being honest about your flaws, and reflecting daily to grow intentionally. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, kept a personal journal not to impress anyone, but to keep himself grounded. Every day he would write about his fears, frustrations, desires, and thoughts. That simple habit helped him stay in control of his emotions, focus on what mattered, and live by his values instead of being ruled by external pressures. If a Roman emperor needed time for reflection, what does that say about the rest of us? The truth is, most people are afraid to slow down and look within. It's easier to keep scrolling, keep working, keep distracting ourselves. But ignoring our inner world doesn't make the chaos go away, it just hides it under the surface. Stoicism invites us to stop and ask real questions. Why did I react that way? What am I avoiding? Am I living according to my principles or just chasing comfort? Those questions can be uncomfortable, but they're essential if you want real, lasting success. Self-awareness is a superpower. When you understand your patterns, you gain control over them. You notice when your ego is speaking instead of your wisdom. You catch yourself before falling into old habits. And instead of being a prisoner to your moods, you become a leader of your life. Reflection gives you clarity not just about what you're doing, but why you're doing it. Think about your goals, whether it's learning something new, being a better partner, or achieving something big. You won't get far without regular check-ins. Are you making progress? Are your actions aligned with your purpose? Are you treating people the way you want to be treated? Reflection turns intentions into action. It keeps you from drifting off course. Even in relationships, reflection is a game changer. Sometimes we say things we don't mean, or we hold onto resentment without realizing it. But when you take time to truly think, you start to understand not just your own needs, but those of the people around you. You become less reactive and more thoughtful, less defensive and more open. That creates space for healing, growth, and deeper connection. And when life throws something difficult your way, reflection helps you process it with strength. Instead of getting lost in emotion, you step back and observe. What can I learn from this? What's within my control? How can I respond with wisdom instead of impulse? That pause, that awareness is what separates chaos from clarity. Reflection doesn't have to be complicated. It can be 5 quiet minutes in the morning, a quick journal entry at night, a walk where you just ask yourself, how did I show up today? It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. The more you reflect, the more you sharpen your focus. You become more intentional with your time, your energy, and your relationships. And over time, that quiet habit builds a strong foundation for everything else. Self-discipline, emotional control, purpose, they all start with knowing yourself. And the better you know yourself, the better you're able to handle the world around you. So don't rush past your own thoughts. Pause. Reflect. Learn. That's how you grow into the person you were meant to be. Point 5. Value time over everything. Time. It's the one thing we all have in common, yet the one thing most people waste without even realizing it. And once it's gone, you don't get it back. Stoicism brings this truth into sharp focus. It reminds us that life isn't as long as we think, and success doesn't come from how much time we have, but from how we use it. The Stoics didn't see time as just something to fill, they saw it as something sacred. Something that, if used wisely, could shape a meaningful life. Seneca said it best, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And it's true. How often do we scroll for hours, overthink situations that don't matter, or get stuck in routines that don't serve us? We say we don't have time to build new habits, to learn something valuable, or to fix what's broken in our lives, but the time is there. It's just being spent in the wrong places. The Stoic approach is simple. Treat time like gold. Protect it. Invest it. Use it with intention. Because if you want success, whether it's in your personal growth, your career, or your relationships, you have to stop living on autopilot. You have to stop letting the hours slip by, consumed by distractions, empty conversations, or things that drain you. Every moment you spend is a choice. You can spend it growing, learning, connecting, and becoming stronger. Or you can spend it worrying about the past, chasing validation, or numbing yourself with things that feel good now, but cost you later. The Stoics would challenge you to look at your day and ask, did I use this time well? Did I get closer to who I want to be? And the beautiful thing is, you don't need huge chunks of time to change your life. Even 30 focused minutes a day can add up to something powerful. 30 minutes to study, to journal, to talk meaningfully with someone you love. 30 minutes of undistracted action is worth more than 3 hours of half-hearted effort. The Stoic isn't obsessed with doing more, they're focused on doing what matters. In relationships, valuing time means being fully present. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. How often do we spend time with the people we love, but our minds are somewhere else, on work, on stress, on our phones? Stoicism reminds us the people in your life are temporary. Not in a negative way, but in a real, grounding way. Every moment you share is a gift. Don't waste it. Make it count. Valuing time also means learning to say no. Not every invitation, message, or opportunity is worth your energy. You don't owe anyone your time just because they ask for it. The Stoics believe that you protect your peace by guarding your schedule, by choosing where your energy goes, and being ruthless about cutting out what doesn't align with your purpose. This isn't about being rigid or cold, it's about being intentional. If you're spending time on something, let it be something that builds you, heals you, or teaches you. Let it bring you closer to the kind of life you want to live. And if it doesn't, let it go. Because one day, all of us will run out of time. That's a fact. And the Stoics didn't fear that truth, they used it. They let it motivate them to live more fully, to act with urgency, and to leave no day wasted. That's the mindset of someone who's not just existing, but truly living. So from this moment on, treat your time like it matters, because it does. It's the most valuable thing you own. Use it with purpose. Use it with love. Use it to build a life that means something. Point 6. Live with purpose, not emotion. In the pursuit of success, we often focus on the external: money, achievements, recognition. But Stoicism turns our attention inward, reminding us of a truth we often overlook. The foundation of a meaningful life is virtue. Not image, not status virtue. That means being honest, kind, brave, disciplined, fair, and wise. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. And if you want real, lasting success, you have to build it on the kind of character that doesn't shake under pressure. The Stoics weren't saints, but they believed deeply in the power of moral clarity. For them, success wasn't about being admired, it was about being good. Epictetus put it simply: we should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is, or is not, in my control? But just as important was why we act. Are we doing it for praise? Or are we doing it because it's the right thing? That's what separates someone who performs for attention from someone who leads with principle. In today's world, we're flooded with shortcuts and temptations to compromise. It's easy to cut corners, lie a little, cheat a bit, or take the easy road to gain something faster. But when you trade integrity for convenience, you may gain short-term success, but you lose long-term peace. And Stoicism teaches that peace is priceless. Virtue isn't just about doing good deeds. It's about how you carry yourself every day, how you speak, how you treat people, how you handle failure, and even how you deal with success. It's the decisions you make when no one's watching. Do you stay kind when someone's being rude? Do you keep your word even when it costs you? Do you choose patience when anger would be easier? These are the moments that define who you are. Think about relationships. The ones that last aren't built on charm or surface-level attraction. They're built on trust, honesty, loyalty, and respect. Those are all rooted in virtue. And when you bring virtue into a relationship, you create safety. You build a bond that can survive storms because both people know they're standing on something solid. In leadership, too, virtue matters. Anyone can take charge, but not everyone leads with integrity. A Stoic leader doesn't lead by fear or manipulation, they lead by example. They make tough decisions with fairness. They own their mistakes. They don't put ego above truth. And because of that, people trust them, follow them, believe in them. That's the kind of leader people remember. Even in your personal goals, like learning a new skill, improving your habits, or building a future, virtue matters. Discipline is a virtue. Humility is a virtue. Gratitude is a virtue. Without them, your success becomes hollow. But with them, you gain not only results, but peace, fulfillment, a sense that you're becoming the kind of person you can respect when you look in the mirror. The Stoics believed that living with virtue was the highest form of success. Because at the end of the day, titles fade. Money comes and goes. People may praise you, or they may turn on you. But your character, that stays. That follows you everywhere. And if your foundation is strong, if you live with virtue, you can handle whatever life throws at you. With grace, with strength, with clarity, So let this be your filter in every decision. Is this aligned with the kind of person I want to be? If the answer is yes, go all in. If the answer is no, walk away, no matter how tempting it is. Because real success isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about respecting yourself deeply. And that kind of success, no one can take it from you.